So today I am going to be doing a nail set inspired by a painting. For this, I'm going to be using Riverwalk, Perfect Black, Maddie, Mimosa, and Energize Your Day from Madam Glam. And if you can't tell by the colors that I am using, the painting that I am basing these nails off of is Composition with Red, Blue, and Yellow by, I'm probably going to mess up his name, but it is Piet Mondrian, I believe is how it's pronounced. I could be completely wrong. I'm sure you all have seen this painting before. It is a very, common painting. And for some reason, this painting has been on my mind lately. And I figured since I've been thinking about it a lot, I would go ahead and make a nail set based off of this painting. So to start off, I'm just painting all of the nails white with Riverwalk. I did 2 layers of this and I cured each layer for 60 seconds. I remember it was either in kindergarten or 1st grade. We did this in art class. I want to say it was kindergarten because this is a pretty basic artwork, and it doesn't really take much to do it. And we basically had to do our own version of this piece of art, using the same colors, but making it our own and placing the colors however we wanted and doing the lines however we wanted. And so that's kind of what I'm doing with this set. I'm not trying to make it exactly like his painting. I am just kind of doing it however, basing it off of his painting, but not making it exact. So after I got all the nails painted white, I did go ahead and wipe them all off with some alcohol. I have mentioned before how that sticky layer that's left behind tends to act kind of similar to a blooming gel, and your lines aren't as crisp and clean as they could be, as if you were to wipe them off with alcohol. You could also apply a top coat, matte or shiny, whatever, and do your artwork on top of that. I personally don't like to do that because I don't like to add the extra layer. I'd rather just wipe that sticky layer off and then go in with my artwork. But I'm just taking Perfect Black from Madam Glam and a liner brush and drawing on all those black lines. I am using a 20mm liner brush for this. And I found the best way to get nice, clean, straight lines is to make sure that you have an appropriate sized liner brush. So when you're doing long lines like this, you want a longer brush, versus if you're doing shorter lines, you want a shorter brush. I also will tend to rotate the nail instead of moving my brush itself. Sometimes I will move the brush, but usually if I'm doing horizontal lines, I will rotate the nail, and that makes it a lot easier for me to get a straight line going across the nail like that. Also, and this is probably going to sound really weird, but whenever I do nail art, I will breathe through my mouth to prevent my hands from shaking. I don't know why that works, but it does. I remember when I was on the bus in middle school, I was complaining about how whenever I would paint my nails, my hands would get so shaky and I'd make a mess because I couldn't keep them still. And then my bus driver like overheard me and she was like, you know, a good way to stabilize your hand is to just breathe through your mouth and your hand won't shake anymore. And she's like, I don't know why it works. I don't know how it works, but it works. And ever since then, I've always done that whenever I'm doing nail art and I need to make sure my line work and everything is like nice and clean, or if I'm doing super small details or something, I always breathe through my mouth and it always works and my hand isn't super shaky, especially when I'm using my left hand. My left hand is way more shaky than my right hand, but if I breathe through my mouth, like I said, it's not all shaky. Again, I don't know why it works. I don't know how it works, but it works. So if you are having issues with shaky hands when doing nail art, give that a try and see if that helps. And I didn't cure in between any of the lines. I did all of the lines and then cured when I was finished doing all of the lines on all of the nails. If you want, you can cure in between the lines or like flash cure in between the lines. I personally don't like to do that because where the lines intersect, it tends to leave like a little lump or like a ridge just because that's like an added layer of polish there, versus if you draw the lines on and they're still wet, they kind of blend and like melt into each other or like level out so you don't have that little ridge or bump there. But again, like I said, if you are more comfortable with flash curing in between each line or every couple lines, then go ahead and do that. Also, the little ridge that is created from overlapping lines really isn't that big or like noticeable. Although if you run your finger over it, you can kind of feel it. But like just looking at it, you really can't see because the gel polish is pretty thin and you're not doing super thick layers with it, but it is enough to bother me and irritate me. So whenever I am doing like intersecting lines like this, I do like to do them all at once and then cure after, just because that's something that bothers me personally. So like I said, I have been thinking about this painting for a while now, and I don't even know why I've been thinking about it or like why it even popped up in my head one day, because I haven't seen this painting in several years. So it's kind of random for it to just like me to just like start thinking about it all of a sudden, but I haven't been able to stop thinking about it or like get it out of my head. And I feel like the best way for me to get something out of my head is to like look at it, or like if there's a song stuck in my head, I have to listen to it, or a movie that I'm thinking about, I have to watch it. So I figured, since I'm thinking of this painting so much, to get it out of my head and to like stop thinking about it all the time, I thought it would be really cool to put it on some nails and turn it into nail art. But also at the same time, it's not really strange that I've been thinking of this particular painting, just because like I am really into art. I've always really been into art. That was my favorite subject in school. And I remember like my senior year of high school, I took care of all the rest of the classes that I had to take in order to graduate, and I basically just took all art classes my senior year because I just needed the credits in order to graduate, and I already taken care of all of like my core classes that I had to have in order to graduate. So I decided to just have fun and do something that I really enjoyed my senior year, and that was to take a whole bunch of art classes. And that love of art is kind of why I love doing nail art so much and like doing my nails so much, because it is a way of doing art. And it also, me doing my nails stems from, I used to be a really bad nail biter, and I wanted to quit doing that because my hands and like my nails and my fingers were so torn up all the time, and I was tired of them looking an absolute mess. So I started painting my nails because I knew if I had some sort of like picture or drawing or something cool on my nails, I wouldn't want to bite them or like pick at them and mess them up. So the combination of my love for art and wanting to stop biting my nails is why I started doing my nails in the first place. I also really enjoy, drawing and painting on like paper or canvas or whatever, not just on nails. Um, but I haven't done that in a while, and lately I've been really wanting to do that again and get back into doing like kind of like all forms of art. Um, I don't know, I've just been feeling really inspired lately and like really creative, and I don't just want to like um just keep it all on nails. I want to do a little bit of everything because like that's what I like to do. Also, if I get back into doing that, that'll also help out with like doing nail art. I know the scale is a lot different there. Like nail art is super small compared to drawing on like a piece of paper or like a sketchbook or a canvas or something, but still it will help to like practice with like proportions and like different things that I could do on nails and whatever. But enough of me rambling about how much I love art. Um, so as you can see, I did go ahead and fill in some of those spaces with Perfect Black. I am using my 11 millimeter liner brush for this. And I just did like one or two squares or rectangles on each nail. And once I got those filled in, I did go ahead and I actually flash cured these because I was also going to be doing the yellow, blue, and red, and I didn't want to wait 60 seconds in between each color. After I got the black cured, I went in with the yellow and did some of the spaces yellow. Some of them I did one little square, some of them I did two. It all just depended on how I was feeling for each nail. And then I did go ahead and flash cure that after I got all of the yellow on. And when you're filling in these squares and rectangles and whatever, you do want to make sure you are leaving some of them white, because just like in his painting, he does have a lot of white spaces. So that also determined how many of the squares that I was filling in with the different colors. And then here I started filling in this spot right here with the yellow, but I decided I didn't really want the yellow next to another yellow spot. So I did go ahead and take a Q-tip and dip it into some alcohol and then just wiped that away. Honestly, I could have left it like that because there is a variation of this painting where there are two yellow squares next to each other. But I just didn't want that for like what I was doing. But if you want to have two yellow squares next to each other, or two red squares, or two blue squares, you can go ahead and do that. Like I said, there are a few different variations, I do believe, of his painting that he did. Um, if you Google it, you can see a bunch of different like variations. There's also probably some that other people have done too, being inspired by this painting, but I do know he's done at least a couple different variations of this painting. And then again, once I got the yellow finished, I did go ahead and flash cure that real quick before moving on to the red. For this red, I didn't really like how it was looking against the white. It was kind of looking a little orangey. So I did end up doing a second layer on the red, and it did end up making it look more red versus orangey with just that one layer. But for all of the rest of the colors, I did only do one layer. And then again, once I finished with all the red across all the nails, I did go ahead and flash cure that before moving on to the blue. And now finally going in with the blue and filling in some of the spaces with that. Again, making sure to leave some of those spaces white as well. And then this time, after I got finished with the blue, I did go ahead and cure for a full 60 seconds since I was completely finished with adding on the rest of the colors. And once everything was cured, I went in with a matte top coat. Before that, I did go ahead and wipe all of the nails down with some alcohol to remove that sticky layer to make sure that there would be no smudging or smearing of the colors. And when I was going to top coat, I couldn't decide at first if I wanted to make these shiny or if I wanted to do these matte. But for some reason, I decided to go with matte. I felt like it would showcase this art better than if I did it shiny. I don't know, like that made sense in my brain when I was thinking about it, but saying it out loud, I'm like, I don't know, that kind of sounds stupid, but I don't know. I went with matte, and after I got all of them top coated, I did go ahead and cure for 60 seconds. I do, however, think these would look really good shiny as well. I feel like the matte, though, kind of makes it look like how it would look if it was painted on, like, paper or a canvas. I mean, obviously, unless you put, like, a gloss coat on top of it, but if you were to just go ahead and paint it and not put a gloss coat on top, then it would look more matte. So I think maybe that's what I was trying to go for, or like my thought process when choosing the matte top coat versus the shiny. And this is what they look like. There are a couple spots that I can see that I needed to go back and fix because the lines got a little wonky. There's a couple spots in the black where you can kind of see the white through that. I feel like if I would have done it the shiny top coat, you wouldn't have been able to notice that. I feel like a shiny top coat kind of hides those imperfections a little better, and a matte top coat like really enhances that and brings it to the surface. But also, I am really happy with this set. And I really love how it came out, and I feel like it is a good representation of that painting. Something else I'm seeing that I probably should have done was after I got the red, blue, and yellow on, I should have gone back over with the black and like clean up those lines a little bit. I can see some spots where those colors overlapped and it doesn't really give that like crisp, clean look that I was going for. But also if you see it from a distance, like you can't tell. But again, like I did this, so I'm like nitpicking every little thing and can see every little thing that is wrong with it or that I would change if I were to do this again. But overall, I am really happy with the outcome of these nails. And with that, I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.